Hello, I'm Michael Novakovich, President and CEO of Columbia Industries. We're proud to have been a part of this great Tri-Cities community since 1963. We started as the United Cerebral Palsy Association, but over the years, you've come to know us as Columbia Industries. Our name has changed, but we've stayed true to our core mission, providing programs to support and empower individuals with unique abilities and barriers as they achieve personal success. I'm excited to share that we are embarking on a journey that reflects our commitment to fostering growth, driving innovation, and unlocking the incredible potential within each of us. As we completed our strategic plan in 2023, we realized our existing identity was disconnected from our mission. We partnered with local professional market research and branding consultants who conducted community-wide surveys to gain insight into our brand, including how it was received by those we serve and partner with. The findings showed the brand and logo felt cold and didn't properly express our mission. The data told us it was time to rebrand. Using insights from survey findings and focus group sessions, our new name and brand marks were born. The result is a much clearer visual representation of who our organization is, what we do, and those we serve. I'm honored to introduce you to our new identity, Columbia Ability Alliance. This rebrand isn't just about changing our name, it's a bold statement of our commitment to inclusivity and recognizing the diverse abilities that each of us brings to the table. The new brand also emphasizes the collaborative nature of success, illustrating that it takes an alliance to advance inclusivity, equity, and accessibility. As we embrace this new identity, you'll start to see the Columbia Ability Alliance brand integrated into our culture, communications, and platforms. This transformation transcends visual elements. It mirrors our shared values and aspirations for a more inclusive community. I am immensely proud of what we've achieved as Columbia Industries, and I look forward to the boundless potential we will unlock as Columbia Ability Alliance. Let's continue to innovate, collaborate, and redefine what's possible when we work together to empower individuals with unique abilities.
Good morning, Tri-Cities. It's Friday at 9 o'clock, so it's time for Coffee with Karl. I'm Karl Dye from Tridec. And as you can see from the videos, we have our very, very special friends and guests from Columbia Ability Alliance here to share some of the rebranding and some of the direction that Columbia Ability Alliance is going in. So it's my pleasure to welcome CEO and President Michael Novakovich. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Karl. Good to see you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on 9 times, by the way.
Great. Yeah. Great video. You kind of explained the whole thing. I think hopefully you have some more stuff to talk about, but we'll see.
We'll see.
And Libby Blaisdell is Columbia Ability Alliance's Director of Advancement. Good morning, Libby.
Good morning, Karl. Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here. And yes, I'm sure Michael can find more things to talk about over the next hour. So no worries.
Yeah,
you're a blessing.
I think we're all rest assured of that. But we really appreciate you guys being on this morning, and we are looking forward to this discussion. I have to start off with some housekeeping and thank Mike Miller from Moon Security, who is our sponsor for Coffee with Karl. I got to say that video with kind of that, Michael, you're the musician, but like that kind of darker tone music in the background and then the flooding. And I mean, it really, I had a sense of like, boy, this is impending disaster here. Like, and I think the music kind of set the tone. So we always give Mike props because his videos are always great. Obviously, Mike and Moon Security are wonderful for fire security, general security, business personal, everything else. Mike and his team downtown Pasco, but now with the water, flood security too. Like that's really branching out. And I was really touched and moved by that music. So thank you, Mike and Moon Security. Okay, well, let's get into it. We're going to start off with our mug story. So I thought long and hard about this mug. I've used it before, but this is Jabba the mug.
Wow.
And yeah, our oldest son, Jay, bought it for me a number of years ago. And both of our sons are on the autism spectrum. And so, our family has a connection with the client base that Columbia Ability Alliance serves. And obviously, we love our kids. We love Star Wars. He got me Jabba the Mug because we like to watch Star Wars together. It's one of the things that we like to do. So that's my mug story. Libby, let's go to you next. What do you have? Do you have a mug or any type of story you want to tell us about copy? Yeah.
Serena grabbed my Montana Big Sky Country mug. Picked this up a couple of years ago when my husband and I were visiting Missoula. I just think Missoula is such a fun town. I haven't seen a lot of Montana, but what I have seen, I really enjoy. Just would like to spend some more time exploring out there, but beautiful. Big Sky Country is where it's at.
That's awesome. And it is kind of weird because when you go across the border, it seems like there is more sky to look at. I mean, I've noticed that myself. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Michael, what do you got for us? Harley, dude.
Yeah, having a hard time here, but my wife Shannon and I have been riding Harleys for about 25 years. About 25 years ago, my dad and his wife Shannon got us matching mugs. Mine says Harley dude, hers says Harley mama.
And speaking of that, in the video, I couldn't help but notice your socks, Michael, which I think is tribute to your boxers. So
yes.
You want to give a shout out to, relating to, kids and offspring, to say anything about boxers?
I appreciate that. I think we're all dog people here. So yes, I have 2 female boxers. It's the first females we've had. We've had 7 boxers over, almost 30 years, but they're named after 2 women boxers that are just total beasts and MMA fighters. One of them's named Riker and the other one's named Breakus. Riker's going to be about 2 years old here in, I think, 2 weeks. And Breakus is just a little more than 1 year old. They're spastic boxer puppies.
That's awesome. So I think this is Libby's first time, but Michael, obviously, longtime friend of the webinar Coffee with Karl here, wearing 2 different hats, but we've talked about the former Columbia Industries before, and I think your video gave a great overview. But Michael, you want to kick us off with the rebranding and kind of, maybe the new direction. And then the second video I thought was really good, just in kind of laying out sort of how Columbia Ability Alliance works together with some of these for-profit industries, and then really the mission services, the core mission of Columbia Ability Alliance. But want to kick us off with kind of that overview?
Yeah, happy to. It was about this time last year, we were entering into strategic planning and the staff had a retreat, and it came up in a staff conversation that there seemed to be a disconnect between our name, Columbia Industries. People, know us readily as CI, and what we actually do. And for me personally, what I ran into, I'll be given a civic presentation and I'll always open it up with the same question. We've been around for 60 years. So what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of CI? And people always mentioned our for-profit businesses. We'd hear CI Shred, which is CI Information Management, or Roundtable Pizza, and I might get Paradise Bottled Water, but it was almost never that anybody ever mentioned we've been breaking down barriers to employment and social inclusion for individuals with disabilities and other barriers for this 60 years. Staff had the same experiences. You might remember, Karl, right after that, we had a board retreat to do strategic planning. And before we had even introduced this idea that staff thought maybe we ought to consider rebrand in particular, maybe it was just a brand refresh, we weren't sure, but we had one of our board members, it was Sandra Haynes, had asked, have you guys thought about, renaming and rebranding? And I'd said, well, if you'd give us 5 minutes and 2 slides of the PowerPoint deck, let's have a conversation. And we did. And the board's experience was the same. It seemed disconnected. So we went to work. Libby was our project manager on this. And, maybe she could kind of fill us in on this whole process, because she really was a champion in this space.
Yeah, I think it was start to finish about 10 months once we actually started going through the process. We put out a couple, RFPs with a couple local agencies, and we ended up partnering with Focal Point Marketing. Thomas Manley and his crew over there. And then we also partnered with Sonar Insights, which is a local market research firm. They were really key in this whole kind of discovery process. We really wanted to make sure that we weren't doing this rebrand because we just wanted to. We thought it'd be cool. We really wanted the community to feel like they were part of it and to understand what the true community perception was with our existing brand. So Sonar Insights helped us do some community-wide surveys, focus groups. We collected, I think, over 600 responses that basically told us exactly what Michael had said in his video. Like the data showed that there was a big disconnect. We really needed to realign our branding and our name with the work that we do day in and day out. So gosh, I mean, I think we started that process in about June, and maybe by like August, we had kind of developed concepts, logo concepts. Thomas and his team took all the feedback that we got from multiple levels of like focus groups, whether that included community at large, board members, stakeholders like employer partners, and some of our actual clients and their families. Took all that data and came back with, I want to say, like 7 or 8 logo and name variations, different color palettes, etc. We kind of narrowed those down and then took it back out to focus groups and eventually landed on Columbia Ability Alliance and did some refining there. So that was kind of like phase 1, because after that there's a lot of copywriting. Our marketing manager, Lori Rivera, she built us a brand new, beautiful website. That took a lot of work. We basically redid everything from the ground up. We took a look at all of our services and really wanted to make sure that we were explaining them in a way that makes sense to the community at large. From our website, we had to totally rebuild it and make it ADA compliant. So now it's fully compliant so that anybody with a barrier can easily find what they're looking for. And we really just had to kind of start from scratch in a lot of ways. Even with our sub brands like Opportunity Kitchen, which you saw in that video, or Employment Services, each of those sub brands that live under the Columbia Ability Alliance umbrella got logo refreshes as well. We really tried to simplify things and tie everything back to that overarching Columbia Ability Alliance brand. So it was a little bit of a lift. But yeah, we, like I said, we partnered with Focal Point. Thomas and his crew was really awesome in helping us execute a lot of the work.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I know I participated in some of those. But full disclosure, I am a board member of Columbia Ability Alliance, and I totally agree. I think they did a good job, and I think we joked around about it one time, but the former logo, kind of had sort of like looked like a human being figure with kind of raised arms, and then I think there was a comment once the new logo came out, right, which is kind of generally 3 figures that are sort of embracing or holding hands. It's like, well, at least the guy got to bring his hands down and hold hands with that, which actually I think it's really good. Yeah, no, and I learned a lot of that branding, because you want a brand, a really, really good brand is going to evoke these feelings and stuff. And I think that concept of like, kind of holding hands, embracing each other, the circle, really to me, from what I understand and know about Columbia Ability Alliance, really expresses the mission and what the organization is all about.
We're getting great feedback, just like that, Karl. In particular, the feedback, general community feedback's been overwhelming. I mean, oh my gosh, the emails, the in-person, the phone calls, and the whole team's been getting this. It's just been incredible. I really love it when we're talking with people that have individuals in their life that, are tied to our services, yourself included, that really recognize what this is and how meaningful it is. And I just, this last weekend, received some great feedback. It's like, love everything. The name, that brand mark. And for us with the name, of course, Columbia, mid-Columbia region, this is where we're birthed out of, but it was really that ability, recognizing and celebrating that our clients have unique abilities, and it has far-reaching impact, and that they're centered literally in everything we do. And so we're hopeful that they see themselves in that brand mark, but also in our name.
Yeah, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the concept of ability and describing the organization as the Ability Alliance, didn't that come from one of the clients that talked just even about that? So I think, and I might be making that up, but it feels like that's a great representation of the community that you serve, right? That I think that's one of the points that starting with the brand and the name, and then everything that you guys do, especially from a marketing awareness point of view, is to help people understand that the clients that you serve and the organization is really about helping people expand on their abilities, because it's through this term disability, these are abilities, like they have strengths. How can we kind of double down and help them with those strengths and help them with everything else that CAA does? And I always like that point. So didn't it come from one of your clients?
Gosh, Libby, did because we had some clients in the room, we were distilling information. I don't know if Christian had mentioned anything. One of our, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I can't remember specifically either. But it is exactly what you just said, Karl, is recognizing that everybody has gifts. They might look different from your gifts and Michael's gifts, but everybody has gifts. So we're really wanting people to understand that and just be willing to maybe take the time to learn how those gifts can be used. So
it is awesome. And you hit something there too, Karl. I mean, and this really is where the alliance is. I mean, throat to throttle, everything we do is through partnerships, right? So whether it's placing a client in a job site, if we have partners for program expansion, partnering with you to have this conversation here to create community awareness. I mean, there's just a lot of partnerships that allow us to do what we do. But it's, we've heard it, we've seen it where when you provide somebody an opportunity where you see growth happen, and when we partner with area businesses and we place our clients, we'll see some people that come in maybe a little tentative, reserved, and unsure of themselves, and you see this confidence grow. And as in a couple examples, one of our team members last year when we were doing strategic planning, I did not know her backstory, and I just assumed that she was somebody without a disability that happened to be on our team. She presents like that, and in the middle of this session, she mentioned that she'd walked with a cane, had significant physical disability. And I stopped her in the middle of this conversation. I said, "I'm so sorry, but when did you stop walking with a cane?" And she smiled real big. She said, "When I found CI, it had changed her life." Wow. She got invested in, and now she's a rock star. She's an assistant manager for one of our teams and just kills it. Yeah, but same thing. Wingstop. The family that owns the Pasco Wingstop, their daughter happens to work here. We stole her away from mom and dad as an employment specialist, which I think we're all a little concerned. They've been a really good employer partner for us, but they introduced us when we were shooting a video to one of their team members that many of our team knew, and he makes their homemade sauces. And when he came to work for him, they had to invest some time. They're patient people. But he was struggling to get this process. And now they said he's a beast. He trains others, but he's like seriously fast. It's his thing. Yeah. And so, and the people we get to work with are on this spectrum of ability, right? Yeah. With different giftings and have the ability to do different things. So it's pretty cool.
Michael, I have to go back. You said, I think, throat to throttle. Now, is that like a Harley dude term, or
I've never or muscle car? Take your pick. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because the other day in a meeting, I have to say, I said soup to nuts, and we talked about generational expressions, and somebody goes, "What's soup to nuts?" And I'm like, "What?" Yeah. So throat throttle. Thank you.
Carburetor to the twist of the wick. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Well, let's you hit it in the video, and I think you hit it on again, but let's go back to the mission of Columbia Ability Alliance. And then, Michael, you kind of led into it, but talking about some of your employment partners, which are part of the mission, right? To help people in our community that need that support, training, assistance, job placement. And then can we take it from there?
Yeah. And Libby, feel free to jump in here. We're working to support and empower individuals to achieve life success. Yeah. And when we break down these barriers, we see it happen. And I certainly want to find our way into talking to what, community impacts and what we see in workplace and workplace culture and what all that means. But it is so cool when you see people, given an opportunity, just light up and do something impactful, meaningful in their lives. And we see it from individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities for sure. And we've got some great testimonies from people that we worked with that have been formerly incarcerated, right? And this was a game changer. Through programming, we can mitigate recidivism and bring about real life change, and it can be generational. One of our clients, who was a team member, she had gone through Opportunity Kitchen. It was exactly that. Her father had been incarcerated. She was incarcerated, and this is a generational thing, and who knows if the kids would have experienced that, but this was the environment they were growing up in. She found Opportunity Kitchen. She found Columbia Industries at that time, went through a program. Turned out she's got an incredible gift. She's an insane baker, but she can do more than that. She's our number 2 in the kitchen now. And kids point to mom as this example. Look at my mom. Look how successful my mom is, right? But yeah, when there's so many stories like that, it's just awesome.
Yeah. And that and I don't want to go too far back to keep talking about the name change and the logo change, but can you give us a little bit of that backstory, going back 60 or maybe 61 years now, and where former Columbia Industries started, and the clients they served, and then kind of that expansion over time, just to roll into the rest of the discussion?
Yeah, you want to field that one, Libby?
Sure, I'll take a stab at it. Fill in any gaps, please. So 1963 was the year that our organization was started, and it was the United Cerebral Palsy Association of Benton and Franklin counties. It's a little bit of a mouthful. But at that time, it was mostly focused on individuals with more physical and intellectual disabilities. And vocational training was the main focus at that point. 1981, I believe, was the year that the name was changed to Columbia Industries. And at that point, the name made sense. We were doing a lot of more on-site employment and vocational training. So we had a bunch of different little industry pockets, if you will. We had a wood shop, we had mobile janitorial, we had a wine packaging plant, we had commercial laundry services, a bunch of different services that were necessary for businesses, but they were all done like on-site in what was considered to be sheltered workshops. That is no longer the standard. We've moved away from the sheltered workshop approach. Most organizations like us have, and it's all about community integration. So now we're seeking opportunities for our clients to work alongside everybody else in the community where they belong. And so that's really the approach, and it has been the approach for the last several years. We added our community center, which is our on-site day program for adults with disabilities, 10 years ago. So we're celebrating our 10th anniversary of that program. So that is more community integration, socialization, respite care for individuals with disabilities and barriers. So that's located on site here at our Kennewick location. So our clients come Monday through Friday. They either take Dial-A-Ride or their parents drop them off, or caregivers, and they get to hang out with us. They get to hang out with their peers. They get to do all sorts of fun stuff. They do science experiments, cooking classes, physical exercise. We have a couple groups that come in regularly to volunteer with us. We have Ted Brown Music comes and leads an interactive drum circle, which is Michael's favorite, I think. We have some, I think the Paul Mitchell School comes over every once in a while and provides free haircuts and kind of spa services for our clients. So that program is definitely a change from what we had done historically, which was mostly, vocational training and employment, but it's a super necessary service for this population. Michael, you want to talk about Opportunity Kitchen?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, free 12-week training program, Karl, I know you've eaten there.
Yes, thank you, Michael.
It's a dynamite program, and I love the way our executive chef Derek Smith states that we're teaching life skills and knife skills. So we do the kitchen training. We have a program. There's a curriculum. There's programs similar to ours across the U.S. Some people work exclusively with at-risk youth. Ours, we're working with individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and then other life barriers. Right? It could be a veteran with PTSD, somebody currently experiencing homelessness, somebody who came out of an abusive relationship. A lot of different folks that we'll work with. But they have this 12-week training program, learning front of house, back of house, kitchen operations. We train up baristas, and then we have the life skills development. So the soft skills, the things that are fully transferable, the things that allow us to have great relationships with people, not only in the workplace, but in the home as well. And the stories that we hear from graduates are incredible. Last year, it was this last fall, we had Leadership Tri-Cities was taking a tour of our campus, and it was pretty cool. As we're touring, we went and happened to be drum circle day, so it was crazy loud in the community center. But we were standing outside the community center, and we had Chef Derek there, and we had some students that had just graduated. And one of our students, I knew he was a rock star in the program, but I didn't know his backstory. And he came up and just, he needs to be doing motivational speaking because he came up, he just had this presence. He kind of looked around, he just had this look, and he said, about a year ago, I was making a decision between the jail and the morgue. And we were like, what is he talking about? And he mentioned that he had been a meth addict, got clean, found this program, and has a bright future. And it was just, it's life changing. It's just awesome. Just awesome.
Yeah.
And it tastes pretty darn good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. But then employment services, we have a whole team that works with individuals on this job placement. So we'll work with area employers to find these opportunities. We do find a lot of opportunities in hospitality, which is a great tie to Opportunity Kitchen, for instance, but that is not the only place that types of employment that we place our clients. We just placed someone with the Dust Devils. So we're super excited.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're super excited about that relationship. I know we have clients at Burlington, but we have clients with varied abilities. We have clients doing clerical work, working with in-home healthcare. When you think about it too, I think our picture of what it might mean to be somebody that has these varied abilities can be a bit distorted. And we need to recognize people are people. There's people with a variety of abilities, but if you take a look at some of the folks, particularly with autism, you do a search on some of these people that are leading major organizations and have incredible outcomes, you're going to see some names you recognize. So, it's a spectrum. It really is.
Yeah, no, that's really a great overview of what you guys did. I'm always struck by the uniqueness, and it kind of, I think, relates to the history that you guys just did a great job of covering. In that, there are these for-profit entities that are wholly owned by Columbia Ability Alliance that, the profits feed up into the nonprofit mission of overall, and then there's this circular pattern where sometimes, like say, clients go through the training programs and support network, and then are placed back within your own for-profit businesses as well as other partners in the community, which is a really cool and unique model. I think nonprofits, there's so many different models out there, but that's one that really works well. And I know that you guys have been working hard to always make it better and improve it and those things. But how about like within that network? And I know you guys have been very, very active on promoting the new brand and the new name. I don't know, Libby, can you give us some examples of what you guys have been working on, and maybe anything's coming up in the future about just building that awareness in the brand or for the new brand and name, but then also just of the organization and looking for new partners and support, and always, as all nonprofits do, fundraising.
Yes, fundraising is super important. We are definitely trying to engage with our community more any way that we can. We were just at, the March for Respect last month, which is always a fun activity to be part of. Next week, we are hosting Business After Hours in partnership with the Regional Chamber of Commerce, which we're really excited about. That will be over at our community center. So just a great opportunity for people to come check out the space. It's been newly refreshed thanks to some donors like Battelle and the Three Rivers Community Foundation. We were able to get new furniture and paint in there. So it's looking nice and clean and sparkly for our clients. So we're excited to host people for that event next week. We're looking at a few sponsorships that really make sense for us and that allow us to kind of, use those as a platform to educate. We also just, hopefully I can announce this, Michael, just hired a business development position. This person will be working out in the community to really connect with potential employers. So that way we can educate them on the benefits of hiring our clients, how it helps their bottom line really, and just will make a more inclusive and more welcoming environments for their workplaces. So that's one of the ways that we're really wanting to get out, boots on the ground, and just do a better job of educating potential employers. Because I think it can come with a lot of questions, right? Like, what do I need to do when I hire somebody with a disability? Like, how is this going to benefit me? Aren't I going to spend a lot of time training this person to get them up to speed? All of those questions, we want them to be answered before we even have to dive too deep into it. So that's what this position will be doing, going out and just trying to gain those new relationships with potential employers.
Yeah, it's
That's great.
Well, and you
Yeah.
saw some of it, Carl, when we were doing the focus groups for the brand, right? We had one of our clients was in there in that particular group, and we had one of our team members who's an individual with a disability, and it when we take a look at organizations and diversity, and there's a lot of studies on this, the impacts that it has on creativity and innovation, right? This is one of those things that can bring about real change in organizations. Now, the clients that we work with are individuals with barriers to employment. So it may not be somebody who otherwise would have found the job and is sitting at that table for an innovation or a strategic planning session. But the impacts that can happen, and we hear this time and again from employers, the positive impacts to culture, right? And our clients, I love, just walking from this building to the one right behind me, which is behind us, which is the community center, because you walk in, you feel like a rock star. Our clients invest in those people around them, and they do it in the workplace. They're excited to have these jobs. They show up on time. They're committed to the task at hand. But people that they interact with feel good about it. They recognize the organizations they're working for, investing in the social well-being of our community, and the emerging workforce, is looking for socially conscious businesses. And they recognize too, I think, as employees that they've got this opportunity to positively impact somebody's life. And then we see this workforce, this morale increase, right? Cultures is enhanced, and it allows us to keep employees. It allows us to better recruit employees. And if morale's high and we built the team that we desire to have, that customer experience is enhanced. And then the lifetime value of these customers, they keep coming back. You've got customer loyalty. So it really does pay dividends. And we're just building a better community as we do this.
Yeah. No, I think that's really well said. And I think that's when we talk about diversity and inclusion across all, differentiators, I guess, amongst people, ultimately, that's one of the things that we don't talk a lot about, right? Like you hope that by having a more diverse team, that you can come up with diverse ideas. And I think that, to your point, Michael, you saw that in that strategic planning. I think that's really cool, right? Like if everybody's kind of like monolithic and marching the same way, and one person goes like, hey, what about this? Like that's what you want, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And this is something we embrace internally. It's not just, rhetoric for the community. When we're doing planning, we're engaged in it right now. We've got a 3-year strategic plan, but it rolls every year, right? We take a look at market dynamics and then tweak it. We include team members from all levels in this process because these unique voices have unique experiences. And this includes individuals with disabilities, because they may see a thing that the rest of us, we're so convinced this is right and true, and this is what we know. And then somebody over here is like, if you only pulled this lever, magic would happen. So we're into it. We embrace it.
Yeah. I think it's such a good point, because it's pretty easy to forget about it. We kind of get in the grind and you're kind of like, okay, let's just go do this stuff. And, we all have to consider those other ways of accomplishing the goal, and maybe doing it even better, quicker, faster, more efficient, or just, better quality by listening to those diverse voices and, in that process.
100%.
Yeah.
I think there's some cool perspective too on just joy in the workplace and happiness, which has you can do a study on that. I mean, the impacts of that they're huge. But when I think about our clients and just kind of the way that they're operating and how they see things, but the impacts it can have when you're connected to them it's pretty huge. Just an example of this. So April Fools, right? April 1st, I'm minding my business, hammering away at the keyboard, and I start hearing a group of people in our building singing happy birthday. And I'm like, I wonder whose birthday it is. And I could hear it. We had a group of clients singing. And I've got to tell you, just the weekend before, Libby mentioned the March for Respect, one of our clients, if there's ever karaoke, she gets up and sing happy birthday. And she did it at this event. And I thought she got a hold of a mic, was singing happy birthday for everyone's benefit. So I thought, what's going on here? Maybe this is something to do with Linda. But they come this way, and I walk out and I notice we've got our marketing manager with her phone up filming, and there's a whole parade of clients. And then they say, happy birthday, dear Michael. And I'm like, my birthday's in November. What is going on? I asked them, like, is it everybody's birthday? What are we doing today? They were punking me, Karl, creating confusion for the CEO. And then I've been in the community center since, and they love that they did that. They're pretty darn proud.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I was, yes, very much confused.
Well, and it worked, right? Yeah, because you were confused. I mean, they totally pulled it off on you.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I'm like, maybe it's not November. Maybe it is April 1st. I don't know.
What?
There was no shortage of volunteers who wanted to do that when
Oh,
our marketing manager asked. It was a whole line of them. So
oh, that's really cool. How about, and having the privilege to serve on the board, I think we've talked about these things, but in the awareness and marketing kind of campaign to get the word out about the new logo and the new name, are you guys doing something to try to maybe broaden the scope related to that business development, even giving businesses that might want to be partners a chance to maybe have an event kind of related to the rollout or to the mission of Columbia Ability Alliance, that it's kind of this joint partnership? I think we talked about that, and I think you guys have done that. So I'm trying to read faces like that. Is that a real thing?
Yeah, if Libby had anything teed up that would go into that,
Yeah.
one of the things that we're doing related to this with partners is, and Libby, you are going to have to help me out here. I know we created some kind of a recognition that they're an employer partner of ours, so that people know with these businesses that they're supporting building a more inclusive community. 100%. And I don't know if you want to talk about that, Libby, but
yeah, we just created a little window decal that our partners can proudly display on the front of their businesses, so that way the community recognizes that they are inclusive, they are open to promoting diversity, and that maybe it also gives them a hint that, like, hey, there may be somebody working here that has different abilities than you and I, so let's keep that in mind as we interact with this person. So that was just one little recognition that we want to give to our employer partners. But we are looking at hosting more things like open houses, where we can have the community come in and learn about us, things like business after hours. We're really using that as an opportunity, of course, to, get that recognition of the new brand out there, but also to have the business community come in, interact with us, and learn about what we do. We hosted that a couple of years ago, and it was I think a good just way for people to understand a little bit about what we do, but also, like, there are people, like Michael said, they're like, oh, well, I came because I thought this was somehow related to shredding, so we want to use that as an educational piece on our business lines as well, because there is some confusion, I think, still out there about how that whole structure works and our relationships with the business lines. So just using that as an overall educational outlet for sure.
Yeah.
One way, Karl, that our community, often the business community in particular, gets to see Columbia Ability Alliance in action. We have our catering for Opportunity Kitchen has taken off. So I know it's located in the Federal Building. We run the cafe there. We have a coffee shop we run that's in another location within the Federal Building. But our catering, we do contract meals, corporate breakfast, lunch, events, dinners, all kinds of stuff. When we do these catering activities, a chef shows up, and depending what type of activity it is, we have our class participants that show up as well. So you actually have this interaction. They have a real world experience in this space, but it's I think that's all about community integration, what we're working to do with our clients, and in that exposure. I think for folks, I'm hopeful there in that space that people start to gain some understanding of what it might mean to have a disability and the value that Columbia Ability Alliance provides.
Yeah, I think, I was just thinking, and I know we talked about it before, but talent, right? Workforce has become a much bigger issue here in the Tri-Cities and throughout the state and even the country. And a lot of it relates to just the retirement of the baby boomers. There's not physically enough people to take the same jobs. And I think, even in the scope of some of the workforce stuff that we're doing at Tridec, that Tracy's leading for us and that we're working on, what are different things that we didn't do in the past that we can do to kind of fill these gaps? And I think there's a huge opportunity for Columbia Ability Alliance. And I think sometimes excited to learn more about the business development position that you guys just announced, because it seems like kind of coaching and counseling businesses that are interested, like they need to fill this position, but maybe there's a way to break it down into, two part-time jobs, or, break some of the job responsibilities down into looking at a different way that would be a better fit for one of your clients, but then have the strength of this diversity that you're adding in there or something like that's a real opportunity. And I'm kind of maybe putting words in your mouth, but is that what the business development position will work for? And I know you guys are working on this stuff anyway, so
Yeah.
it just seems like that's a huge opportunity in today's job market.
You're hitting it on the head. So there's something that our employment services team will do that's called job carving. And so like community conversations, I'll ask the question, how many of you, the bottom of your job description have or had that line that said other duties is assigned? And pretty much everybody, is like, oh yeah, absolutely. And then the follow-on question is that where you're operating at your best? And it almost never is, right? It's this other thing. Somebody's got to pick this up. So what our job developers can do is find these opportunities and take that little piece out, and it provides a meaningful employment opportunity for one of our clients. The clients that are under a number of the programs that we administer, whether it's for the counties or the state, they're also on Social Security, and they have a limited number of hours they can work in a week. So part-time employment for many is the right answer. Some people may be looking for full employment. But what's cool is, so we've got this meaningful opportunity for one of our clients. They can provide, real outputs, but meaningful impact within the organization. Again, going back to the culture conversation. But then with the existing workforce, if they're positioned where they are at their, working at their best, they're happy and their output's greater. So there's a cool opportunity there. Then with some of our other clients, when we look at other marginalized communities we work with, so perhaps it was somebody a veteran with PTSD might be a great example. They may fit the roles of doing, they may have the capacity to work full-time jobs and do, other assorted roles. Who knows what in the military, what their backgrounds might have been, but can provide meaningful impact today. But we find that across, whether it's formerly incarcerated or somebody came out of an abusive relationship, we have people with varied abilities that can bring real impact to employers. We just need to open the doors, right? Have the conversation, then employers the opportunity. And you're right. How are we going to accommodate the workforce needs today? What's coming? We got to think creative.
Well, and I'm trying to cue this up as a question for Libby, but I think, like we talked about, I know you guys have done that in light of the rollout of the branding and renaming. But let's say a business was interested in, going through the process of job carving, like you said, and kind of maybe creating this position that would be great for one of your clients. But I think in the past, like you guys have then pulled some of the promotional strength that you have, your abilities to maybe bring in different news media outlets that can highlight this, kind of like making a celebration or ability. So it's almost like the business gets a double whammy, right? Like they get this amazing person on their team. It brings all of these diversity and kind of like culture changing things to your team. But then also maybe there's some promotion for your business, like, hey, we've partnered with Columbia Ability Alliance, and there's that opportunity. And I'm just thinking of, businesses that might be really interested in that. Like, I think that's something you guys have stood up, Libby?
Yeah, it's certainly an added benefit. Michael had mentioned Wingstop earlier, Wingstop Pasco. They've been such a great partner to us. We've included them in like testimonial videos, highlights at like our annual gala, things like that. And we do have some ideas in the works for like celebrating our employer partner of the year at our next gala and things like that. So there's definitely like those perks. I think those are kind of, like I said, added benefits to just also gaining an amazing employee. But it certainly doesn't hurt when there's a little extra promotion on their behalf.
Yeah, and it really is something, Karl, when we talk about like the halo of partnering with an organization like ours. And there is avenues for, we're very active, not on the social channels, but public relations, PR, that lends itself in that space. The other thing that I think is really cool too for employees, right? Or employers, is they're working to attract and retain talent, right? So you're coming into a new community. I remember, my prior gig at Visit Tri-Cities, I was sitting down talking with the Hanford presidents, and I asked a dangerous question, but I needed a real answer. I was asking, why do you invest in us? I was real curious, what is the value proposition you see? And I want to make sure we were honoring it. And one of the things they mentioned is they were talking about employees on loan. There was this 2-year churn. People would come out to the Tri-Cities, and if they didn't find that we had, great places to eat and things to do, if the culture wasn't here, they were gone. The same thing's true with healthcare. If we don't have good healthcare, people come in, they're searching this. They want to know what our schools are like, but they also, if they're caregivers, they need to know that there's social service agencies in town that are going to provide for their needs. And so when we have an employer partner that partners with us, it creates great recognition across their teams. No doubt within their teams, they have people that have people in their lives that have a disability. And so what a great opportunity to really step it out and build a better community, and have that relationship with your employees or future employees that, you care, you get it, and you're invested.
Yeah, and I think not that there's any competitive nature in fundraising or any of these wraparound services, but I think that that's a good differentiator with maybe other groups that are out there, right? That to make an investment, to give a donation, to partner, and bring on one of your clients with Columbia Ability Alliance. It's not just a transactional relationship. It's not just here, I write the check and then you guys go do what you do. That is this circular pattern, right? That there is this feedback loop, that all the things we just talked about are opportunities for that business that helps them better show what their culture is and what kind of organizations they partner with. And, when they're competing for talent, besides the amenities of our place and everything else, it just helps them tell a better story when they're competing for that same talent. I mean, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think for our individual contributors, we'll get the question, you've got these for-profit businesses, what you really need to raise money. And it's we've got contracts that we work for Benton County, the state, we have federal contracts to provide services, and they don't carry the full load. Our for-profit businesses are awesome, and we've got skin in the game, and it helps gets us there. But they don't carry the full load. It's the three-legged stool. It's the community support we rely on to take it the last mile. So individual donors, we so greatly appreciate their investment in what we do. Our corporate partners, and this kind of goes back to the public relations and the things we do in the halo of CI. When we put together a sponsorship proposal for our corporate partners, we're leveraging all the tools we have to make it mutually beneficial. It's not just, hey, we're a charity. We'd love you to write a big check. We find ways to make it truly meaningful for those people that we partner with. Aside from feeling good about building a better community, there's other things that we can do to help them achieve their goals. And we always look for those avenues.
Yeah. Anything else we missed on, like, kind of up to this point, but then I'd kind of like to go into, what's coming up on the future, what maybe are some things that you guys are working on within the new name and logo, or some things that are on the horizon. Like you said, I think we have some strategic, maybe not full on planning, but tweaking coming up. But is there anything else that you're getting ready to roll out that you can share with us that we should talk about?
I think just kind of upcoming events for our clients, community awareness too. If you've got someone in your life, we are partnering with the Dust Devils. Libby, do you have the date right at the tip of your tongue?
I believe it is Tuesday. I want to say Tuesday, August 5th. Whatever that first Tuesday is in August, we are partnering with the Dust Devils to hold an inclusion night out at the ball field. So that will be a really great opportunity for individuals with different barriers to enjoy maybe a little slightly toned down game. Still working on a lot of details, but the Dust Devils are great partners to us, and we're excited to have that opportunity for our clients and other individuals in the community who might benefit from that.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. We just had a new partner for us at Curly Integrity. They sponsored our night at the CPCco Planetarium. So our clients had an intergalactic experience. As you might imagine, we fed them roundtable pizza. We had caregivers out there. So we're looking to do more in that space with new partners, more community outings, and just really enjoy that community integration. And then Roundtable Pizza, this isn't necessarily a client-focused piece, although we have clients that work for us at Roundtable. I think it's the first and third Mondays, we're going to be doing trivia night at the Pasco Roundtable. So just some new programming there within the store. But Roundtable truly has been a great place for us for job placement opportunities. And so it's these for-profit vehicles are more than just revenue generators. They can provide meaningful employment and transition people into other roles within the community.
Yeah. That just even amongst our team here at TriDeck, we've talked about going to a trivia night because, I think the key to trivial success is to have different generations on your team, right? They are kind of like subject matter cultural experts in all things trivia within some certain range of years. And so we think we're pretty good and mighty, so we'll have to check that out. That sounds like fun.
I love it. I think when you and I were talking about Tusk and the USC marching band, Libby was connecting the dots on this Columbia Mammoth dig just south of town here. So we need the generations present.
Michael and I were just talking about trivia and Jeopardy the other day, and like I'm good for like literature and pop culture. Like my husband fills in the gaps with like presidential history facts. You gotta have a good spread. It's true.
Yeah.
You got to. Well, it's a generational thing. There used to be this thing called Trivial Pursuit that had these little pipe pieces that had all those categories, right? Yeah.
It's awesome.
And thinking about, especially like abilities, I think people that can memorize all the questions in the Trivial Pursuit box have a huge advantage, right? So like once you've been through all the questions and you just remember them, then you're good to go.
Yeah. There you
Borderline cheating, but yes, sure.
Well, it's all relative. It's about playing to your abilities, right?
That's exactly right. Yes. Love it.
So you guys, what else have we talked about? What else can we just share today? And again, I got to give you guys props. You're doing a really great job. I really appreciate the opportunity to do what little I can do or we can do, serve it on the board and try to get the message out. But what haven't we talked about?
Yeah, well, just a quick note. We treasure our board members. Karl, we appreciate you being on our board. But your team's awesome. I know Tracy's hiding in the background here, but she's connected us to things for program development. So the partnership with TriDeck is outstanding. But you teed it up. Where are we going? What are we doing? And so for us, one of the disconnects we find, and this is across the state, this is not a Tri-Cities thing, this is not a Columbia Ability Alliance thing. Parents, and they all use the same phrase, actually, this is across the nation, they use the term the cliff. And so individuals with disabilities in our public school systems, they age out at 21. And so there's this disconnect from they had services, and all of a sudden now, what is this person going to do? What is out there? And, it seems seemingly simple. It's like, well, there's agencies like ours and Goodwill, and there's others in town that provide employment services or other opportunities, but it just doesn't work like that. And so there's transitional service programs. The school districts, you may have seen it in local news, they're doing a dynamite job with this. We operate in that space, but we're working on and currently having conversations around how can we create better connectivity to the schools, provide programming, work with special education teachers and caregivers to ensure that transition is a smooth one, and we can help individuals have life success. In many of these individuals, we're working towards independent living, and that'll happen not only through our programming, but also when we partner with others on residential housing and other related services. That's where the alliance piece really kicks in. So I think, based on our most recent team discussions, we were all kind of feeling we've got more to do in employment services, more to do with vocational training. We'll find other opportunities. We're looking at expanding Opportunity Kitchen, which is exciting. But we really think focusing on our youth and kind of getting it at the front end of this to provide, those smooth transitions is key.
That's a good point. And I mean, so in the future I know that there's confidentiality with sharing information about like students that school districts can do, but is there a way to maybe engage that group of young people as they age out of the school system that CAA can, sorry, I almost said CAA can start to work with them and start to transition some of that support, because I think that's, I mean, we've learned it in our family journey is, and we're blessed with our family, but not every person has that support network, right? And so I think that's critically important in what you're describing, Michael. But is that what could happen in the future, that there could be maybe a stronger relationship, and maybe not just with CAA, but with this network of service providers that could have a closer connection and understand who are these people and how can we do a better job of outreach to support them?
I think so. There's a new program. One of our funding streams that comes through the state, something called DBR.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that they have a program called Job Foundations that really focuses on better transitions for students. And so we just recently got together with the county to learn more about this and how we implement it. So we have a school to work program, but this would likely replace that. We could do more there. But I think too, if we've got the vocational training opportunities that fit the populations we serve, that would be available to high school students, for instance. So I'll use food service because we operate in this space. But there are other things that we could do, and over the years we've demonstrated we can do it really well. But we could connect with students, provide this opportunity for training through Opportunity Kitchen, right? But a program specifically designed around the high school students. And one of the things in talking to one of our area superintendents, I learned is they were having a hard time hiring for food service workers throughout the district. Well, here we could take a student, train them, might be able to place them back in the district. And those district jobs come with great benefits, and talk about working individuals towards independent living. I mean, that's how this thing could really work, and we could make some impact.
That's really true. I mean, because I know that the public schools struggle with many of those, I think they're called like non-certified positions, right? That food service, that maybe bus drivers isn't a good fit, but they're always looking for bus drivers, those other positions.
Right. Yeah. So I think there's probably avenues we could find. And I think if our employer partners, the employers just in general, are taking a look at their operations and thinking about, boy, how could that work for us? We could have a conversation, do what we do. And I will tell you, if there is enough interest in a particular type of training program that, really benefits the community in a larger sense, that's something we'd be interested in standing up. That's how Opportunity Kitchen was birthed,
Sure.
Yeah, we were looking at what do we do to benefit the community. Hospitality raised their hand, said we need a trained workforce, and next thing you know, we've got a program that's helping address that.
Oh, that's awesome. If I'm an individual, if I'm a business, and I want to learn more about Columbia Ability Alliance, and maybe even more importantly, how could I give money to Columbia Ability Alliance? How do I do that?
Well, I did mention our new website. It is beautiful. It's very robust. We've got a lot of information on there. I think there's even a section where it says, I'm an employer looking to hire. Like, start there. Read through, some of the benefits that we have listed, how the process works. You can directly get in touch with our employment specialist through our website. And then on the giving money side, of course, we've got a few pages on our website, again, that just educate you on the different ways you can get involved, whether that's through just an individual one-time giving, if you want to sign up to give on a monthly basis, if you're a corporation looking to sponsor something, we've got information there too. So I'd take a deep dive into our website, check that out, and learn more about the different ways you can be involved with us.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You bet.
Michael, anything else to add on encouraging businesses, individuals, community members to form a relationship with Columbia Ability Alliance?
Oh yeah, well, there's a lot of benefits that I think our area employers could experience. We do something called a community-based assessment, which it's not job placement. We do job placement, but some of this is to understand what's going to be a great fit for our clients as we're working with them to refine their skills and find that next opportunity. Partner with us on this assessment. It's a short-term commitment. You can experience what it's like to work with Columbia Ability Alliance, see what it looks like to work with the individuals that we serve, and hopefully we find a pathway forward for some meaningful employment opportunities.
Yeah. Well, this has been great. Even though I serve on the board, I've learned stuff today. So thank you both for coming on.
Thank you.
Michael, I know that, we've talked before about some type of a gift to signify the number of times you've been on Coffee with Karl. I will say that we have added to our mug making ability. Our own Senator Binky got this very customized, cool Coffee with Karl mug that he really cherishes. I know that he does. So we'll have to hook you up.
Ask him about that.
Oh, he'll tell you. Don't worry about that.
Well, I remember some mention of a smoking jacket. I've been waiting.
Yeah, I just didn't want to go there because I don't want to let you down. But, a mug, Michael, seems a little bit more, achievable, let's say, than a smoking jacket.
I get it. I get it.
But it's always good to see you. And Libby, thanks for joining us today. You guys do such a good job. And it just comes through, the way that you both express yourselves, that you love what you're doing and that you're really passionate about fulfilling the mission of Columbia Ability Alliance. And just, please, for all of us, pass on to your whole team and your clients and the whole network just how much we appreciate all of you guys, the great work that you're doing, and especially your clients, adding to just the strength of our community, right? Like the work that you guys do with your network is a huge advantage for our whole community. So thank you so much for joining us today. And any closing remarks, Libby? Anything you want to leave us with?
I think my only thing is, like, there is a way for anybody watching this to get involved with us somehow, whether it's hiring a client, eating at round table, ordering your water through Paradise, or shredding your documents with CI information management, donating to us. There are a million ways you can make an impact with us. You may not even realize it, but just reach out and we are happy to figure out how you can do that.
Yeah, thank you. Michael, last words.
Yep. Last words. I'd say, share our mission. If you learn something today, share it with your neighbors, share it with your colleagues. Because it may be somebody that's in need of our services, and we'd love to connect. And then join us. We're on our way to build a more inclusive community that all of us can enjoy.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you again for joining us this morning. Really good discussion. Keep up all the great work at Columbia Ability Alliance. And for everybody watching us, we appreciate your support. We'll be back soon with another Coffee with Karl. You guys have a great weekend. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Karl.
Okay.